Hello everyone, today we'll be going to discussing about some of the essential measures or some of the advanced techniques that you can introduce or incorporate for your content audit strategy. Now the first thing guys is that in order to have the most effective content audit strategy in place, you first need to understand that if the content or the necessary assets are discoverable by the JavaScript, because sometimes JavaScript contains a lot of rendering delays and issues that can cause some bits and pieces of your content not to show on the Google search, and this can be a real problematic factor, because if your content does not show up in the search, or if Google bot or the crawlers does not fetches those content, then there is no use of writing good contents, and that would ultimately be in vain. So come, let us find out what all we can do. So first of all, you can open Screaming Frog, and as you can see on the spider configuration, click on spider configuration, go into extraction, and you need to tick on both HTML, stored HTML and store rendered HTML. Now the reason why I'm saying this is because you need to first compare that the HTML version versus what is being rendered, what are the differences. So as you can see on the screen that I have ticked the box of show differences, so this can show that what is the actual content, which is the HTML, and what is the rendered version. The rendered version means the area which can be rendered by the spiders or the bots, just like the Screaming Frog. And show differences will help us show what all differences we have between the same later, which we can optimize. Now once again, it is very essential to make sure that the JavaScript is fully accessible by the search engine. So the first step is to see the URLs which are available, and you need to crawl the site using Screaming Frog and create a dashboard of URLs and the data linked with them. Then you need to run a crawl on Screaming Frog, which you can quickly identify the potential crawlability and the index issues, and which can be then sorted for a proper rendering of the JavaScript. Now the thing is, as you can see on the screenshot, if you hover onto the JavaScript, you can just check that how many pages are blocked with the resources. So you can just go over and check all of these pages and fix from your development team. Some of the common issues can be blocked resources, some pages that contains a no index or a no follow or a different canonical link, or even some of the hashed URL which comprises of some unstring URL that cannot be indexed. Then moving over to the Core Web Vitals, so this is also an important factor to keep in mind while doing the content audit, because if you have a poor Core Web Vital, even though this is not a highly supported ranking factor, but still this really implies a lot on the user experience, and having a good Core Web Vital score can signify that your user experience is not hampered, and if user lands on your website, they can have some good experience over your content. Now next is to detect the index bloat and the content pruning. So first of all, let us understand what exactly is an index bloat. So basically, index bloat means if there are unnecessary amount of pages that accumulates in the search results that comprises of poor quality material, duplicate content, or the pages that serves no value. Now the thing is that now some of the main causes of index bloat is due to the fact that sometimes there are user generated content such as any kind of spam comments, dynamically generated URLs specifically for e-commerce campaign, if there is some coding mistakes like some broken URLs, if there are some mistakes on subdomain pointing, and some orphan pages or the pages which have little to no value at all. Now how to detect the index bloat? So the thing is that the most common indexation occurs as following. So for example, if there are certain common issues like the 3-axis, like the 4-axis, like the JavaScript, the canonicalization, the sitemap, and so on. So you can utilize Screaming Frog and find all of these kind of necessary errors, and later you can fix them with your dev team or your technical SEO team as well. And lastly, pruning contributes to the index bloating. So there are a few ways by which you can access the value of the URLs, and then you can determine how they should be pruned. Now the thing is that at first review the organic metrics in Google Analytics, and if you see that any URL have some bad behavior or some negative engagement, then that needs to be urgently re-optimized, deleted, redirected, or refurbished. Apart from that, you can also check on all the user metrics from the search console on the last 12 months to 3 months data and see if the click-through rate are performing or the impressions are performing properly or not. Apart from that, few other areas are meta robots, remove and redirect, link score metric, no index, no follow, disallow, and canonicalization. So by ensuring all of these technical parameters, you can make sure that your content audit is up to the mark. And the ultimate three purpose of the content audit is to make sure that the content is rendered properly, the content is free from any kind of user experience hampering triggers, and last but not the least, the page should not comprise of any kind of technical SEO errors. Thanks for watching.